Welcome to the Fusion Flow podcast, the space where we dive deep into emotional healing, personal growth, and reclaiming your power. Your host, Erica Carter-Folk, is a transformational coach, breathwork guide, and your partner on this journey to wholeness. Let's flow into today's episode.
Hello, love. Welcome back to the Fusion Flow podcast. I'm your host, Erica, and today we're diving deep into a topic that has so many of us in the chokehold: people pleasing. It's that pattern of saying yes when you want to say no, of putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own, and of abandoning yourself just to keep the peace. But before we dive in, let's take a moment to ground ourselves. If you're in a safe space, close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment and exhale slowly through your mouth. Now picture this. You're standing in front of a mirror, looking at yourself. Behind you are all the expectations, the favors, the constant yeses you've given away. And with each one, you feel a weight pressing on your shoulders. Now imagine yourself gently removing those weights one by one. With each one, you feel lighter, freer, more like yourself. That's what we're going to start doing today. Letting go of what doesn't serve you so you can step into your power. All right, open your eyes if you close them. Let's talk about people pleasing. Let me set the scene. You're exhausted, your to-do list is a mile long, and the only thing you want is a moment to yourself. But instead of saying no, you agree to bake cupcakes for the school fundraiser, cover your coworker's shift, or listen to your friend vent about their breakup for the 100th time. Why? Because saying no feels impossible. And here's the kicker. After all that effort to keep everyone else happy, you're the one left feeling drained, resentful, and invisible. That sound familiar? Let's get real for a second. People pleasing isn't about being nice. It's about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough. And while it might feel like you're keeping the peace, what you're really doing is abandoning yourself. But here's the truth, love. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to sacrifice your own needs to make everyone else happy. You can break free from this pattern, and today I'm going to show you how. So grab your tea, your journal, or just settle in, because we're about to have a very real, very necessary conversation about breaking free from people pleasing and setting boundaries like a boss. Before we dive into the why, let's take another grounding breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold it for a moment, then exhale through your mouth. Let that breath remind you that your needs deserve space too. All right, let's talk about where this people-pleasing pattern comes from. Spoiler alert, it didn't just show up out of nowhere. For many of us, people-pleasing starts in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a household where love and approval felt conditional, where you had to be the good kid to avoid conflict or earn affection. Or maybe you had a parent or caregiver who was unpredictable, and you learned to tiptoe around their emotions to keep the peace. Here's where the science comes in. People-pleasing isn't just emotional, but there's a biological layer. When your nervous system senses a threat, like conflict or rejection, it can trigger a fawn response. Let's talk about the fawn response for a second. You may have heard of fight or flight, how your body prepares to protect you from danger. But there's another response, fawn. It means you keep the peace by pleasing others, avoiding conflict, or becoming overly agreeable. It's your nervous system's way of saying, if I keep them happy, I'll be safe. Understanding this is powerful because it means your people-pleasing isn't a flaw. It's a protective response you can rewire. And let's not forget the societal layer, especially for women. We're taught to be agreeable, to avoid confrontation, to put others' needs ahead of our own. We're praised for being selfless, but no one talks about the emotional toll it takes. Here's the thing. People-pleasing isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're sending yourself a message. My needs don't matter. My voice doesn't matter. I don't matter. But love, that's a lie. Your needs do matter. Your voice does matter. You matter. And it's time to start living like it. So let's talk about how to break free from this pattern and start setting boundaries. The first step to breaking free from people pleasing is figuring out what you actually want and need. People pleasers are so used to prioritizing everyone else that they lose sight of their own desires. So the first step is simple but powerful. Get clear on what you actually want. Here's the thing. You can't set boundaries or honor yourself if you don't know what you're protecting. This step is about reconnecting with yourself, your values, your desires, and your energy. So grab your journal and answer these questions. What makes me feel happy and fulfilled? What drains my energy or makes me feel resentful? What do I need more of in my life? Rachel, one of my clients, was a busy mom and a manager at work. She felt like her life was one big to-do list for other people. She was exhausted. One day during the session, I asked, Rachel, what do you need right now? Rachel paused.
I don't know.
She whispered. Her eyes filled with tears.
I've spent so long making sure everyone else is happy that I don't even know what I want anymore.
I leaned in. Let's start small. If you had one quiet hour just for you, no interruptions, no obligations, what would you do? She hesitated and then smiled.
I'd curl up with a book and actually finish a cup of tea while it's still hot.
That was the beginning. From there, Rachel started journaling, discovering what brought her joy and what drained her. She wasn't just breaking free from people-pleasing, she was reconnecting with herself. What's one thing you crave right now that you've been too busy pleasing others to give yourself?
This moves us to setting boundaries like a boss.
Let's get something straight. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. And honesty is a form of self-respect. People pleasers often feel like saying no is letting someone down. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're saying no to yourself. So this is how to start saying no. Be polite but firm. For example, I really appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. Don't over-explain. You don't owe anyone a detailed reason for your no. No is a full sentence. Start with small things like declining a favor or skipping an event you don't want to attend. One of my clients, Jen, was the go-to person for everyone in her family. Need a ride? Call Jen. Need someone to plan your family reunion? Call Jen. She was drowning in obligations, but she was terrified of saying no because she didn't want to disappoint anyone. We worked on small steps, starting with saying no to baking cookies for her niece's bake sale. You see, one day, her sister called and asked her to bake cookies for the bake sale. Jen hesitated, then took a breath.
I'm sorry, I can't this time.
Silence.
Wait, you can't?
I really can't. I've got a lot on my plate, but I know you'll do great.
Jen hung up. Her heart was racing. She didn't explain, she didn't justify, and the world didn't end. It wasn't easy. And with every no, Jen felt a little lighter and a lot more empowered. The next time someone asks you for your time, ask yourself, am I saying yes out of love or out of fear? Let's talk about setting boundaries like a boss. Boundaries are not walls, they're bridges to healthier relationships and healthier you. They're about teaching people how to treat you and protecting your peace. So this is how you set a boundary. Be clear and direct. For example, I need some time to recharge so I won't be able to attend. Stick to it. Don't let guilt or pushback make you waver. And again, start small. Begin with low-stakes boundaries like setting a cutoff time for responding to texts or emails. According to psychology, boundaries help regulate your emotional energy and reduce feelings of overwhelm. When you don't set boundaries, you're more likely to experience burnout, resentment, and even physical issues. Studies show that people who maintain clear boundaries experience lower stress, better sleep, and even improved immune function. Your brain loves clarity, and boundaries give it just that. I had a client named Maria who struggled with boundaries at work. Her boss would send her emails at all hours, and she felt obligated to respond immediately, even at 11 p.m. It was affecting her sleep, her mood, everything. Together, we worked on setting a boundary: no emails after 7 p.m. At first, she was terrified her boss would think she was lazy and uncommitted. But finally, she mustered up the courage.
I've decided I won't be responding to work emails after 7 p.m. It helps me recharge so I can do my best.
Her boss hesitated. Then he nodded.
Got it. I respect that. I'll do the same.
Boundaries are contagious. If this boundary was for someone you love, would you feel guilty setting it? Our next step is reframing rejection. Let's talk about rejection, because this is where people pleasers often get stuck. The fear of disappointing someone or being rejected can keep you saying yes when you mean no. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't about you. It's about the other person's expectations. So to reframe the fear of rejection, instead of thinking, they'll hate me if I say no, remind yourself, if they truly care about me, they'll respect my decision. Understand that rejection is redirection. If someone can't handle your boundaries, they're showing you who they are. And that's valuable information. Brené Brown says it best. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Lisa always said yes to her best friend, even when it hurt her. But one day, Lisa needed to focus on herself and told her friend she couldn't hang out. Her best friend always expected her to drop everything and be available. When Lisa said no for the first time, her friend got upset and accused her of being selfish.
You are being selfish.
Her friend snapped. It hurt, but Lisa realized that her friend's reaction wasn't about her. It was about the friend's unmet expectations. Lisa felt the sting but took a breath.
I care about you, but I also need time for myself.
And guess what? That boundary ended up strengthening their friendship because it forced them to communicate more openly. This moves us to step 5, practicing self-validation. People pleasers rely on external validation to feel worthy. Beloved, your worth isn't determined by how much you give or how many people you like. It's time to start validating yourself. Here's how to practice self-validation. Celebrate your wins. At the end of each day, write down one thing you did to honor your needs. Affirm your worth. Use affirmations like, I am worthy of love and respect, just as I am. Reflect on your growth. Look back on where you started and how far you've come. I had a client, Sarah, who constantly sought praise from her boss to feel like she was doing a good job. And when she didn't get it, she spiraled into self-doubt and thought she was a failure. We worked on shifting her focus to self-validation, and every day she wrote down one thing she was proud of, whether it was finishing a project or simply saying no to an unnecessary meeting. Over time, she stopped needing external validation, and Sarah's confidence didn't depend on anyone else's approval. Every step you take towards breaking free from people-pleasing is a step towards reclaiming your power. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And remember, love, this journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress. One no, one boundary, one moment of self-validation at a time. Love, every boundary you set is a declaration of self-worth. It's a love letter to yourself that says, I matter and my needs are important. So go out there and love yourself enough to disappoint someone else. It might just be the best decision you ever make. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we'll be talking about how to build confidence after a major setback. Until then, take a deep breath, set a boundary, and remember, you don't have to please everyone to be worthy of love. You're already enough, just as you are. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Fusion Flow podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. For more tools and resources, visit mind-fusion.com or find us on social media at Mind Fusion Coach. Until next time, love, keep breathing, keep growing, and keep showing up for yourself.